Hey guys, I'm Sandy, this is Erin with the agency, and we're super excited today. We have Bryan May with Century Mortgage here.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Oh, no problem. I like it. I love the new office and the agency.
Thank you.
Nice.
Erin has worked hard on that.
Well, we appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
I don't need the accolades anymore. I've heard it for a couple months now. I'm good with that.
But you put together a lot of chairs though.
I did,
So
and a lot of tables and everything else, but
When you're
tell
new.
us a little bit about yourself, how long you been in the business, that type of stuff.
all right. Well, I'm with Century Mortgage. I've been in the business for 15 years. So over those 15 years, I've done I don't know how many loans. So I've seen about everything you can see in the business. I would
I
think.
imagine so.
Yeah. I also teach the LBAR finance courses, so I teach a lot of realtors a year. So that's nice. Fun.
Yeah, you're good at those classes. They're good.
Thanks.
Yeah. What have you noticed as far as, have you noticed the market shift at all? From, I know, of course, everybody knows earlier in the summer, you put a house on the market and it seemed to be that it would sell day one. Are you still noticing that?
Not near as much, and which is normal because that was very unsustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would be writing pre-approval letters for a client 5 or 6 times because they make an offer on the house, they get beat, they go find another house, they get beat, and really that's not gonna last.
Right.
So now we've seen things really come back to normal, inventory's a little bit higher, and so when buyers go out, put an offer on the house, they're getting that house a lot more than they were before in the summer.
And in my experience, I've noticed that where I've had a handful of buyers kind of get frustrated with that process, just like you said, and then they're telling me, like, I want to hold off right now and maybe wait till springtime and just see what the market does.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have,
I had-
and I know you teach classes, you go to classes, what are you hearing from the pros, or for your professional opinion of what do you think the spring market's gonna be like?
I think the spring markets should be good. It should be, and when I say good, it should be more like it should be. It should be normal. When there's gonna be more houses on the market, the market's still doing very well, houses are selling. It's just not gonna be hectic like it was in the summer, where somebody would get frustrated because they put an offer on the house and immediately there'd be 4 other offers.
Right, or 15.
Which was frustrating for everybody,
And I think
except the
sellers,
sellers.
except the
And
sellers.
agent.
I like it. I'm a seller
They love it.
specialist. I loved it.
and then but if a seller saw their house be on the market 2 weeks,
Then they worry.
they thought,
what's
oh my
wrong with
gosh,
it?
what's wrong with
Yeah.
my house?
It's
Where now,
beneficial.
it may take 30, 60 days to sell a house, which is perfectly normal.
Yeah, and that's still a seller's market because it's less than 6 months.
Yeah, we would see, when we get reports, we would see some prices from 200 and under would have less than a month of inventory,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy.
in preparation for this, I stayed up late last night. I really want to do my research and be prepared, as Sandy knows I like to do. So I put together a bunch of questions.
All right, well, sure, let's do it.
Bryan was, I'm gonna call you out. You gotta cut that. Liar.
Okay, I lied.
You can't lie.
Brian did some research, so we're gonna
Okay.
talk to him a little bit. And this may sound basic, but it's really not, because people assume, but what is a credit score?
Well, credit score, pretty simply, is just a numeric value that tells a lender what your risk is. So the higher your credit score, the less risk there is to loan you money. The lower the credit score, the more risk there is to loan you money.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it's fairly simple.
Yeah,
And each person has 3 scores. So you have TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Those are the 3 credit bureaus, and they each give you a score.
right.
Which one matters for your purposes?
We always go by the middle score.
The middle, okay.
So if you have, we throw out the high, throw out the low, take the middle, we don't average them.
Okay, gotcha.
How often do you run into somebody that has paid cash their whole life? I know like our grandparents did that
All the
right
time.
now. So
All
what
the time.
if they literally don't have a credit score?
Well, if
Or my
you
Dave
don't,
Ramsey folks, yeah.
that's exactly right. When you listen to Dave Ramsey, he's got a lot of great things, but the one thing is if you never have any credit, it's hard to buy a house. And what I tell people is, well, if you're the lender and you had somebody that never borrowed money before, would you want to lend them $200,000 on a house? So I think I've heard there's 15 million people in the United States with no credit score.
Wow.
And so the thing is, it's real easy to get a credit score. The only thing you have to get a credit score, you have to have one account that's been open for 6 months. you have to have one account that's reported in the last 2 years, and then you can't be dead. So, those three. So,
Okay,
a lot of times when somebody comes to us without a credit score, it's as simple as if they have no credit, open up a credit card, and in 6 months, you'll be there.
and here's something I wanna get out there, and I've asked this a couple times, but you explain it better. A new buyer is gonna go out and wants to buy a house.
Mhm.
So they identify their lender, or no, I'm sorry, they wanna shop lenders. So
Right.
they tell me, or I'll say, I'll give you 3 names, or however that process is that they come about it. And they say, I don't want, several people to check my credit score. How
Right.
does that affect
I get
if
that all
they
the
get it
time.
checked 3 or 4 times?
Does it hurt your credit?
No, it doesn't. If you get it checked 3 or 4 times from a mortgage company, it's not gonna hurt your credit, because they know you're not buying 3 or 4 houses.
Right.
You're buying one house. Now, if you go and apply for 3 or 4 credit cards at once, that will hurt your credit, because they think you're going to get 3 credit cards. And so, but just having a couple people check it's fine. I have heard this horror stories with, other online companies where they'll apply for something and then 30 people will pull their credit.
Yeah.
That you don't want. But having 3 or 4 lenders pull your credit in a short amount of time, say a couple of weeks or a month, that's not gonna hurt you.
So what about, you get, first time buyer, they call you do your magic, but then you come back and you say you're not quite ready yet, their credit score is just too low. How long does it take to improve that, or how do you recommend them improve their credit score?
Sure, well, that's the great thing is, a lot of times it's very easy to improve their credit score. One of the key things that determines your credit is how much you use your credit cards. So if you have a $300 credit card limit and you have $250 on it, which is not a lot, you may have a low credit score. Where if you just pay that credit card down to $100, your credit may go up 30 points.
Okay.
So, and sometimes it's very easy to improve somebody's credit.
So the best thing for a buyer is to stay close to their lender and keep.
And just, yeah, and we do that all the time. We'll pull someone's credit, and then we'll give them advice and say, all right, you're not here yet, but do these 2 things, and you can get there. And we have some software that just basically we can put their credit report in, and we can say, this person needs to get 30 points. How do they get 30 points? And it'll tell them, you need to pay this credit card down to this much, you need to pay this credit card down this much, and
That's
do
super cool.
X, Y, and Z. So we can tell them what to do.
I like that.
I got a question for Sandy, since she's is primarily a listing agent. So, what could a buyer do to make their offer stronger? What do you like to see from a buyer in terms of, does it matter which lender they pick?
Oh,
Does it loan product?
All those, yeah. A local reputable lender is helpful when they're competing. If you've got somebody from another state I've never heard of, or one of these online that I've had bad experiences with, that I'm gonna mention that to my client. I can't steer my client, it's up to them ultimately, but yeah, pre-approval letter, 20% down, a conventional product might be better than other products, but not always. If it's a lender that they all close. So I've had great VA, FHA, cash would be nice too, but that.
Those are good.
So yeah,
Not so much
earnest
for
monies,
us.
and all the terms are important.
Mhm.
We look, especially if you're competing, you look at the escrow money. Do they have 1% down, or do they have $100? Are they with a good reputable lender? Do they have that pre-approval letter rather than pre-qualification? Can you tell us the difference between those, or?
Yeah, I think it's important that you know who the lender is and you know what the reputation is.
Right.
Because an FHA loan with a borrower can be just as good as a conventional loan with 20% down.
True. And the
If
only
you-
reason I
if you
said
know who
that
the
is
lender
if
is
you
and
were
you know-
competing, yeah.
And this person always gets the loan done, we're not gonna have any trouble. Or you can call the person and just say, hey, I got an offer from this person,
Yeah,
how are they?
true.
And then that way you get a better sense. We can't tell you anything confidential, but we can say, oh, strong borrower, no issues.
Yeah,
You know,
it definitely
not
makes a
worried.
difference when it's a lender that we trust and that we've
Mhm.
worked with repeatedly over and over again.
Absolutely.
Like
I've got a question for you. So you were asking me about credit score. What kind of credit score do you think you have to get a loan?
600?
600?
Very good, 600. Now, what do you think most consumers think?
700?
Well,
Yeah, I hear it all the time. I hear it on the news or different media outlets that you have to have 700, 720 to credit to get a house. That is simply not true.
Right.
You can get a house with a 600 credit score. So, and you can get, and with 620, you can get 100% financing. So, there's probably a lot of people out there that could get a house, that just don't realize they can.
Yeah, true.
What about all these apps or websites now like Credit Karma? Are those accurate?
They are, but they may not be the score that you get from your lender. So, as lenders, we have to use a FICO model from 2004. So that's the scoring model we use.
Okay.
But there's a lot of newer scoring models out there, a lot of other scoring models. So when someone goes to Credit Karma, for example, and their score comes out at 710, that's maybe a totally different scoring model. When we pull it, we may get a credit score of 660. And it just depends on the scoring model. It also depends on what data Credit Karma has. So there's three different credit agencies. Not all lenders report to all three credit bureaus. So when you go buy a car, that car lot may only report to one. Or when you have a collection, they only may report to two and not three. So
does it take a personal touch to get that correct number? And I'm kind of comparing this in my mind to like a Zillow's estimate, you know, where you can just look on there and there's an algorithm, it puts together my home value. Is that kind of the same thing where there's not really a human touch that's?
no, it's not. It's
anything?
all computer generated, but it's only as good as the data they have and the scoring model they're using. Now, Credit Karma is a good source to get a general idea. You know, is my credit really good? Is my credit really bad? Is it kind of in the middle? That'll give you a good idea. But if you want an exact score, you really need a lender to pull it, because they're going to use the right scoring model, and they're going to use, and you're going to pull it from all three bureaus.
Okay. I think this is great information for our buyers and even sellers out there. I think the education in the home buying and selling process is beneficial to everyone. I do personally believe that unemployment rate is way down. I feel like there have been a lot of buyers that have kind of held off their search right now because it's been a little frustrating. I think in the springtime, I think it's going to rock and roll. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we always slow down in the fall. This year we just maybe slowed a little more because of I think all that demand and the situation that we had, that it kind of tapered down a little. So hopefully, yeah, I think every spring is typically good. And even if strike that. I was gonna go into 2008, we're not going there.
Oh, no, you're good.
So I definitely want to say thank you to Bryan for taking your time to come out here.
Well, thank you for
do
having me.
this
I
with
appreciate
us.
it.
It's fun. I think we ought to do it again. This is our
Definitely.
first one, so as we all know, that there's a little bit of a learning curve. We'll get better. We'll adjust the camera a little bit, maybe change the seating, but we'll get better with this. And definitely want to have you back.
Well, thank you very much. I'd love to come back.